Hey, my special ass, beautiful ass, magical ass goddesses. It's your girl Kayla back with another video. Today, I wanted to make a video specifically talking to black women, especially black women who are single parents and are the single parents of young boys or young men. This is kind of a message that had been on my heart for a little bit, but after I actually ended up having this conversation with a coworker the other day, I was like, all right, synchronicity, I get it when I see it, so I'm gonna talk about it now. I want to talk to black single mothers so that we can start to acknowledge that we are part of the problem in raising our young black men, right? What do I mean by that? I mean that because we are women and we generally resonate more with our feminine energy, we're raising these little boys to also be in that feminine energy. The conversation that kind of brought this about was I was at work kind of chopping it up with a couple of coworkers, and one of my coworkers said something about how her ex-girlfriend's son, like, he's 16. He's like, oh, you know, they'll sit on the couch and they'll cuddle and watch movies together. And I was just kind of looking like, what? At 16? Like, I can understand if he's 3 or 4, but 16, like, for real, for real. And when she said this, you know, I've done really good at being able to control my mouth, but my face, on the other hand, my face will tell you a whole different story. So she's looking at me like, what's that face for? I was like, my son is 11, and, you know, he still will, you know, do that where he just wants to hug up on me all day and lay under me. And, you know, unless he's not feeling well, get off of me. Is literally what I will tell him. Please go away, get off of me. And when I said that, she was like, you're mean, you're being mean. And I was like, boo-boo, no, I'm not. Like, this is what's wrong with most of our black men now. You've coddled them and babied them so that they think that all of this feminine energy that they are receiving, that they are to get for nothing. Play that back if you need to, if you don't quite understand what I'm getting at. What I'm trying to get you to understand is that we are coddling these little boys. And don't get me wrong, like, you could ask my son right now and he will tell you unequivocally that he knows that I love him to death. Like, I'll threaten to drop him off at the fire station all the time, and he's like, no, you won't, you love me too much. Like, it's never a question to my son how much I love him. But all of this babying and coddling that he's used to from his childhood, I'm like, no, like, you're about to be a preteen in a couple of months. And not only that, but, like, you're supposed to be a man, you know. Being a man doesn't involve laying under your mama all fucking day, right? This is actually kind of a twofold issue, because it doesn't only cause issues with these young boys and them growing into their masculinity, right? I also think it's an issue with black women, because often what I will see is these very twisted dynamics in a relationship, almost like you treating your son like your fucking man. Like, what? Like, you cuddle and watch movies with your man. At 16, let's be honest, most black boys at 16 resemble grown fucking men. Shit, my child is only 11, and when I tell you this little shit is big as fuck, like, almost as tall as me in a size 9 shoe, like, he's not little by any means. And most of these older black kids or black boys, they're not little by any circumstance whatsoever. And to be sitting there coddling them and hugging them and like, make it make sense. Make it make sense. That's something that you do with somebody in a relationship, not with a grown adult male child, or not grown adult, but damn near grown, preteen. You get what I'm saying? If they're over the age of 5, all that snuggly shit, no, you're babying them. You're making them way more effeminate than they need to be. It's time to toughen up. Trust me, I am not saying this out of malice. It was a realization that I had to come to myself. Although some parts of coming to that realization was not difficult, but I very quickly knew, like, you know, you wanting to lay under me all the time, like, that's not normal. Because then what happens? you're gonna get older, you're gonna get a girlfriend, and you're gonna expect her to lay up under you and fucking baby you all day. And the only thing that I've taught you in that is that, you know, almost like it's your right, like somebody owes you that. Which is, I think, the main problem with all of these grown-ass men that don't know how to be men in relationships, right? Because let's be real, the good majority of black men and boys are raised in single-parent homes, mostly headed by women, right? And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with the fact that you had to be a single parent. You know, you did the best that you could with what you knew how. So this message is more to future generations of women. Stop coddling them. It would always baffle me, not necessarily baffle, because I understood the dynamics when I was working in domestic violence. But when I was working in domestic violence, I would see so many times these mothers come up to court with their sons trying to defend them. I mean, I had one lady where she insisted that she sat at the table with her son. She started asking questions as though it was her hearing. She was trying to like dictate the hearing. I mean, she would have completely put on his case and defended it for him if she could have. The judge had to stop her several times, and eventually he ended up stopping because she just kept going and kept going. And it's like, this is a grown-ass man, and yet you're fighting his battles for him. That's where these effeminate men are coming from, where we have raised them and babied them and coddled them so they don't understand the reality. They don't understand how to fight for themselves. They don't understand how to fight at all. At all. And so what do? They just come to women expecting to get love, attention, affection, their needs met, all while thinking they don't have to do their part, that they don't even have a part, that they can just live, chill, be in the world, and do whatever, and leave all the work up to us. It's a part of a much, much, much bigger problem that we have going on in the community, and it needs to be addressed sooner than later. I tell my son all the time, I am not raising a man-child. I am not raising you to be older and expect that you get something in this world for nothing. I will not participate in the raising of a young black man who thinks that, you know, the world is his oyster and he just has to go out and search and seek for a woman to take care of him. That's a part of the problem that we're having in the black community with these relationship dynamics, is that these men are looking at women as though we're mothers to them and not partners. Partners where I play a role and he plays a role. Partners in, you know, we set up our dynamics and we make it how we want it, as opposed to it just being gimme, 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 and I'm not giving anything back. So ask yourself, are you coddling your son? Are you making his life so easy for him that whenever he needs or wants for anything, the only thing he feels like he needs to do is turn and give you a look? We need to stop that. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, we don't have to wait until they're older to stop it. Even little things like, if they get into an incident with another kid, he's crying all over the place, tell him it's a part of life. And if you can't get used to it at a young age, it doesn't stop when you get older. How are you supposed to get used to it then? If you're supposed to be protecting the rest of the tribe from all of the trials and tribulations that may come their way, how are you going to do that if, at 7 years old you're crying because somebody said something mean to you? There are mean people all across the world. Stop teaching them to react and start teaching them how to live in their truths, how to speak their truths, how to be strong, protective men. You're never going to raise a strong, protective man when you feel like you're the one that has to fight all of his battles for him. Even when it comes to the little things, my son dealt with bullying a lot in school. And I realized very quickly that it was a battle that I could not fight for him. And even if I tried to fight that battle for him, what would happen when he got older and, he may deal with a similar issue? Am I still going to be trying to fight all his bullies at 23? That definitely isn't the best idea. Am I still going to be feeling like I need to be his bodyguard and protect him at all times? No, that should be his job for me, not the other way around. They are the protectors, not us. At least not up until a certain age. Now, trust me, I get it. As mothers, don't mess with our babies, but They're not babies forever. And we need to stop treating them as such. A lot of the times, I think that the relationship or guilt that we have, bug! The guilt that we have for past relationships, or how we may have had them, or us feeling like if we overgive and over nurture, that somehow that will just make the world right. Like, it's a very backwards logic, and clearly it's done way more damage than it ever has any good. So I would ask single moms out there of young boys and young men, start being tough on them. Do I love on my son? Of course I do. There are times where I'll give him a big hug, especially if he's sick or he's not feeling well. But, all of that coddling and babying, not letting them find their own way as young men has to stop. It is a detriment to our community. It's only making things worse, as you can already clearly tell. There aren't too many black men, and don't get me wrong, before y'all get all in your feels, in your bags about what I'm about to say in the comment section. I know that not all black men are bad men. That's not what any of us are saying when we criticize black men. What we're saying is it's too many. It's a majority. And when you have a majority of a bad thing, it never works out well for the community. A majority of the black men do not protect. They do not fight. They expect us to take care of them. I'll give you a really good example too. I was walking down the street. We were just like taking a little walk with my son not too long ago. And there was a couple who was walking down the street as well. There was like a low-hanging tree. And so as the other couple's walking past this low-hanging tree, the guy steps behind the woman, puts his hand on her shoulder, and lets her guide the way through. I didn't want to be rude or, seem a little judgmental, but as soon as they passed, I pointed that out to my son, like, he's supposed to be protecting her. Why is he expecting her to lead the way? Why is he putting her in front in case anything happens in harm's way? Like, this is the mentality that most of the black men that we have been raising over the past few generations have. Like, we'll just leave it up to the women to do all the work. And part of the problem is how they're being raised, how we're treating them. Does your son have any responsibilities? Are you doing things to help him realize who he is supposed to be and not trying your best to shield him from life? How are they ever supposed to grow up if we spend the entire time that they're alive shielding them from the harsh realities of life? That the only thing that does is guarantee that you're going to have a child that is going to come to you with every single problem and battle that they have in life, because you haven't prepared them for said battles. Yes, there is divine masculine and divine feminine energy in both male and female. So having, a softer side where they're able to express their feelings, which is also something that, we need to work on doing, is getting them to express their feelings and instead of repressing it. But it's a balance. It definitely is a balance. Like, me doing this video right now. This is me in my masculine energy. All up into trying to get my fucking bag kind of energy. You know what I'm talking about? But also at the same time, like, I'm not going to go home to him and act like I'm the provider when I get off of work. Because that's mommy time. That is, feminine energy, being soft, seeing what you need, seeing if you've done your work, those types of things. Learn how to balance those too. I wouldn't say specifically at a certain age is when they need to stop getting that love and affection, but I know what we're giving them is too much, and it's not helping the situation, and it's only making them worse. Right now, when you see a lot of what's going on when it comes to injustice and inequality, it is black women at the front line. And not to say that we don't have a place at the table, but we shouldn't be the only fucking ones at the table. So let's stop and question ourselves and see what's really going on that got us to this spot in the first place. Because it's so much more than, white or black men, wanting to be like white men, being ashamed of themselves, which kind of also starts in the home as well. So that's just my word for the day. Now that we know better, now that we see where we have gone wrong in the past and we can better analyze that, it's time to do better for the future. It's time to break all of these generational curses and become a strong community of people who can protect and lead and do what we need to do in the world and get past all of this shit. Because we're never going to be where we need to be when we're dealing with all of these issues that keep us from being at peace. And that's all that matters, us being at peace and being able to be happy. So that's my little rant for today. If you have any questions about coaching services, feel free to email me at divinefemrising11@gmail.com. Make sure you click the thumbs up button. Also, like and subscribe, hit that bell notification. That way, every single time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. And that's all. Talk to you later, folks. Bye.